Hey peeps, let's give this a go. Can't find something you like? Let's make it yourself. All right, let's have a look at some square numbers. So the basics of square numbers are: what is a square number, I hear you say? The result of multiplying any integer by itself. And if you remember from the start of the year, an integer is a whole number. So not fractions, not decimals, whole numbers by itself. So it's represented as the number, which is x, to the power of 2, or as you can see there in green, that it's x squared. The superscript 2 shows it is the number multiplied by itself. We see this most often used with BIMDAS, though sometimes you can also see it in area questions. It's just not quite the same reason. Why? Let's have a look at it. Okay, so 1 squared, that means 1 times 1. And you can see here with this square, it goes up 1 and across 1. That's your 1 times 1. If you were to count the number of squares in this, 1 times 1 is 1. So then you've got 2 squared. 2 squared is 2 times 2, and again we have the 2 squared. Let's have a look here. So this is the 2 up and 2 across here, and so if we were to click again and count them, we end up with 4, but we know 2 times 2 is 4. We got this. 3 squared, so again 3 times 3, and we count those up. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 squared, we're going the 4 times 4. You can see you can draw this out if you really needed to, because you were struggling with your times tables, and just count up those boxes or dots. As long as it goes 4 times I see 4, and that goes to 16. 5 squared, that's the 5 times I see 5. There is similar to your arrays. I've used boxes just because they're easier to do, and that would be 25. How about if we were looking for something even bigger? Let's go for 7 squared. I only skipped a couple because I didn't have a lot of space, let's be honest. So 7 times 7 is 7 squared, which is 49. Fantastic. If for whatever reason you don't know your tables, you can use your chosen method to solve your square numbers. Let's have a look at triangular numbers next, hey? So the basics of a triangular number. What is a triangular number? You totally asked me that, right? Yeah, okay. So a number that can make a triangular pattern. If you look at the proper definition, it says a triangular dot pattern, but I use squares, so I took the word dots out. So triangular numbers can be solved by adding numbers in order or using the formula. The formula is going to look confusing to start with, but it is actually very, very easy. So when we add it, it's simply like adding the numbers in order. So if you were looking for the 5th triangular number, you would add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Whereas if you were going to use the formula, that is written like this. It's x to the subscript n, and that's equal to n, open bracket, n plus 1, close bracket, divided by 2. I know that's super confusing right now. Trust me. It's very easy, or you could just count them. All right, let's take a quick look at these. So the first one is 1. So if I put this little dot in here, we have just 1, a triangle form around it because it's 1 plus nothing, and that is 1. Next up, we are going to have 1 plus 2. Now, 1 plus 2 is going to give us these boxes here, and if we count them, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, and that triangle goes around it again. So next of all, we're going to add on 3 more boxes underneath, so it becomes 1 plus 2 plus 3. That will give us 6. For number 4, we're going to add on 4 more to that 6 to get 10, and for 5, we would add on 5 more to get 15. So you get that idea. It's pretty straightforward. You would draw your dots, make sure you add on an extra 1 for each row, and you can keep going down the page. Let's have a look at a bigger one, maybe 11. Fancy that. So you could draw them out right the way to the 11th row. You could keep going as long as you needed to, and you can count those little dots or the boxes as required. You could add them. You go 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11. Or you could use that formula. So the formula is rooted in BIMDAS. We have n multiplied by what's inside those brackets. And we know we do the brackets first because in BIMDAS we do the brackets first. We know it's multiplied because it's right next to the brackets. So let's do what's inside first. It is 11 plus 1. So 11 plus 1 is going to give us 12. Then we have our multiplication, because we're going to go left to right, like BIMDAS tells us to, with the multiplication and division at the same time. So 11 multiplied by 12 is going to give us 132. Then we have that little bit on the end, that divided by 2. So 132 divided by 2 would be our final step. So as I said, we have our 3 different ways. We have your adding, where you could add up these numbers. If you're counting, where you could count on all these little dots or boxes. And then the formula, all of them are going to give you the same answer, which is 66. So the 11th triangle number is 66. Now remember, as always, if you don't know your times tables, you could use skip counting, you could draw pictures, you can figure it out by using friendly numbers. There are lots of different ways to solve problems. As I always say, you don't always have to solve it my way, you just have to get the same answer as me. Later, peeps.